raise your hand if you clicked on this video because you are unmotivated and you're kind of miserable. Don't worry, you're in luck. In today's video, we're gonna talk about how to get motivated when you have no motivation. We're gonna talk about your brain chemistry, dopamine release. We're gonna talk about why you are having a hard time getting motivated. And then we're gonna talk about some tips and things you can do to get motivated. But before we get into today's video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Missy. I'm a life and relationship coach, and on this channel, we get to the root of the issue and we learn how to heal and deal. So if that's your thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of the fam. And if you already are a subscriber, you know I appreciate you so much. Also, don't forget to check out my course, 11 Weeks to Break Free from the Past, so that way you can start healing from your past today. Okay, let's get into today's video. So, most of us, if not all of us, work in a system of wanting to achieve results, right? We do things because we want to get a certain result. We know we have to go to the gym in order to feel healthy or look a certain way, or whatever your goal is, you know you gotta do that. Or you know, if you want to have a clean household, you know you gotta get up and clean and be consistent with that. You know, if you want to have your own business, you gotta do things to get that going. But what can be really hard is that most of us don't want to work hard. Like, that's why they always have these videos and stuff of like how to make easy passive income and how to be easy. My dog literally looks like she's about to fight me. What's up? Anyway, so you know, a lot of people, they want like the easy way out. Like I was saying, generally we want to receive some sort of result and we don't want to work too hard. And neuroscientist Andrew Huberman says, because dopamine, the reward hormone, relates to perception of time, working hard at something for the sake of reward that comes after can make it more difficult and challenging and less likely. So basically what he's saying is that if you're waiting on a reward, then your dopamine is less likely to be released, or you'll have a lower baseline of dopamine to be released if you are waiting for that reward. He also talks about intrinsic versus extrinsic reinforcement. So if you give yourself a reward, then you are receiving extrinsic reinforcement. So if you receive a reward, or you give yourself a reward for doing something, then you tend to associate less pleasure doing that actual activity. So if you get your peak in dopamine from an outside reward, then it is going to cognitively make you feel like you don't enjoy doing that activity. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean it's always bad to get a reward for doing a certain activity. There's a time and a place. What it really means is that there's too much focus on extrinsic, outside reinforcement, than intrinsic, internal reinforcement, and doing things because we enjoy doing that activity. So we'll talk a little bit more how to deal with that in a minute, but first let's talk about why do we get demotivated. So we get demotivated because our expectations can be too high for ourselves. Maybe you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're doing it because others expect it of you. Maybe you've had a whole life plan panned out for you. You're doing it because of pressure, whatever it is. You're not doing it for the right reasons. Or you are trying to do more than you can handle. So you're putting a ton of stuff on your plate, you're getting overwhelmed, and it's completely demotivating you from being able to move forward because you don't know where to start, and there's too much going on at once that you feel like you're juggling too many things and you don't know what to prioritize. On others, you could focus too much on results and what it should or will look like. So you're like, okay, you know, this is a result, and you keep trying to make goals to achieve this result, and the result may be really big and will take a lot of time, but you're just so focused on getting this result when you don't receive that result, and you don't do it in a short amount of time because, again, when you focus on those things, your dopamine baseline is so low, then you will naturally get burnt out and exhausted and demotivated. Another big one that I think we often don't even realize, but you're feeling sad and low, of course you're going to be demotivated. Like, if you're setting a goal, I always tell my clients, we have to start at a baseline. You can't try to set a goal and achieve it if none of your needs are being met. So if you're sad, something's going on that you need to figure out, and you're feeling low, or you're dealing with depression, you're in that kind of survival mode right now. You can't attend to your wants, you gotta attend to your needs. And so you're feeling really in a funk and just down and low. And it could be part of a feedback loop of like you're not in the place that you want in life and you're just sad, and you know, it's kind of going round and around. But there needs to be something you do that makes you happy, which we'll talk about in a minute, to get you out of that hole. So like you're trying to make, so like people that are in an okay place, like maybe they're feeling a little sad, whatever, they're here, and so they can kind of climb that ladder. If you're all the way down here, you got to do some things to climb up to this baseline where you can set those goals. And the last thing is, there isn't enough of a reward to do it. Like, it's just the why isn't strong enough, or you're just not as excited to do it, and there's not enough of that dopamine release, which we'll talk about again, how to release that dopamine. I feel like I'm literally just a robot on repeat, but it is true that you're not having enough of that reward hormone to go off to do it, which we literally do base our decisions off of emotions and these hormones going off. So okay, now that we went through all of why you get demotivated, or some reasons, not all the reasons, now let's talk about how to, one, release more dopamine, and two, how to get more motivated. I mean, they go hand in hand. But so to start it off, let's talk about how to get in touch with your dopamine. So in order to get in touch with your dopamine, you need to admit the thing that you're doing is painful or uncomfortable. Be real with yourself. So you tell yourself, I'm uncomfortable, or this is painful. Maybe I don't really want to do it. But doing this activity will help me increase my baseline of dopamine so I can feel it more, and I am choosing to do this because I love myself and I love doing this. And this is the most important decision for me. Yes, technically you're lying to yourself a little bit, fake it till you make it, but you maybe don't necessarily love it, but you need to make that choice. Now, choice is the most important thing. Reminding yourself that you're choosing to do this. And I always tell my clients this: when you do something, make that choice, because you are putting yourself in the driver's seat rather than doing it because you feel like you have to, or this is a necessity. You are saying, I am making this choice. You are taking accountability for yourself and that you are choosing to do this. So you don't have any excuses, and you're not saying like, oh, other people are making me or what have you, or I can't. No. You are making this choice. And it is easier to do things when we make that choice rather than feel like we have no choice. It's us being in control rather us being out of control. So it's solely up to you to choose to do these things. It first starts with that. The other thing is, find your why. Why are you doing this thing? Reminding yourself of your why, which there's the 7 layers of why. You ask yourself why like 7 or more times, and you kind of figure out the root of why you're doing something. Because it's not just I want to exercise to feel healthy. There's usually like a deeper why of I want to be able to be a great grandfather or grandmother to my grandkids, and I want to live a long life, or what have you. There's a deeper why that gets you excited and gets you moving. You know why you're doing it, then you can get those warm fuzzy feelings of like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing it. It doesn't have to be it's the end goal or the end result. It shouldn't just be, you shouldn't be just doing something for the end goal, the end result. It's the passion of why you are doing something that's really important to remind yourself. So if you don't have a strong enough why, then you're probably not doing it for the right reasons, and you kind of figure out why you are doing something. Or if it's like something like, you know, keeping your house clean, kind of figure out a happy medium, because maybe your why is to impress other people when really your why needs to change, and it's because you want to live in a healthier, clean environment because it makes you feel better. So kind of figuring out your why, maybe changing your why, figuring out that passion and that excitement. The other thing is having a growth mindset. So when this kind of has to do with the intrinsic reinforcement rather than looking for the extrinsic reinforcement. You are focusing on the journey when you're thinking about your growth. You're not thinking about what's to come. You're thinking about each step and appreciating the journey and getting excited about the journey and the individual things that you're doing or you're learning in between. So it's so important to appreciate the effort you're putting into it, of like, wow, I'm really proud of myself. Like I did this little bit of cleaning rather than focusing on cleaning the entire house. You're like, I did a little bit of this cleaning and it's so awesome. I'm one step further in being who I want to be, and just really appreciating the quality and the things that you've done, rather than did you accomplish your big end goal. And that's the other thing that's really important, is to break it down into many things. So being able to be like, okay, I know I have kind of this big project I want to work on. Let me focus on this small amount that I can get done, and really just honing in on this thing. The same thing like I tell my clients with to-do lists. To-do lists can be a nightmare. They can also be helpful with getting out of your mind, but they can be a nightmare, and they can make people feel really demotivated. So what I say is, just if you need to get everything out on paper, just write everything on your mind that you want to get done, okay? And each day pick like a couple things that you know are doable, that you can do, and put them on your list for today. Only a few, that's it. And really validate yourself and appreciate the things that you've done, and give yourself gratitude. And that will help you, so you get that dopamine release, and you are feeling good because you're focusing on the effort you put, rather than just what you got done in the whole end goal. So breaking things down is so important. And some people, I think a lot of us, have that negative voice of like, that shame voice of like, oh, you could have done better, this was baby shit. Like, no, that's when you fight back on that voice and say, no, I did exactly what I told myself I was gonna do, and I'm proud of myself, and I love the effort and the things that I did get done. And that's how you appreciate the journey, and make it fun. Play some music, do whatever, you know, that's enjoyable and exciting. Now let's talk about if you're struggling with feeling low and feeling sad and you're in a funk. The first thing you need to do is, like I had mentioned earlier, is do something that makes you happy. What is your go-to? What is something you know that always lifts your spirit? Whether that's you go to the mall and you do a little shopping trip. Maybe it's going for a walk by a body of water. Maybe it's listening to birds. You know, use your 5 senses. Sometimes certain smells, I'll smell it and I'll feel really good. Or, you know, listening to birds is something that gets me always like, just like calm, peace, like happy. So do something. Go around to smell. That sounds silly. Go around to smell, go see something, go hear something, whatever it is. Go touch something that makes you feel all good. Whatever it is, go and do that thing. Maybe your go-to is to go on an adventure. Maybe your go-to is being around loved ones and you need that connection. Go and do that thing to lift your spirits, to make you happy and get out of this funk. And the most important thing is to do it immediately without thinking. Now, don't make irrational decisions like spending $1,000 or what have you. Obviously do it within reason, but do it immediately without thinking, and go and do that thing, and don't second guess it. Which that kind of a subcategory of that is, when you're feeling demotivated, go to your usual routine, or go to what you know that helps you to be able to get remotivated. Like one of my best friends, a weird thing he does is that when he is falling off, one thing that helps him get back on track when he's feeling stressed is to go get some sushi, and that helps him, and that's his go-to. That's just kind of weird little quirk. So kind of figure out, you know, what is your go-to, what helps you. Maybe putting on some music and start dancing and start, you know, cleaning the house. Or maybe it is with like with creativity, like you need to be more creative in your work environment. Maybe that is by starting to paint. You know, do something that you know is your go-to that helps you get excited again. Another thing is, you can have someone do it with you, and especially if you're someone that's more extroverted or outgoing, or you feel really good with having someone that's accountable with you, have someone that's either on a similar journey, or you know that someone also is like, they're trying to achieve their own goals and they want to do it too. It doesn't have to be the exact same goal, but maybe you just want to both hold each other accountable. So have someone do it with you, and you guys check in with each other, like, hey, how you're doing? You know, oh, I need you to come by, and like, you can work on your homework and I'll do some cleaning, and we'll hold each other accountable. Start off by that, of just having that accountability buddy, and then eventually you guys will fall off, but do it to a point where you feel like you're getting back in the groove again and you're feeling good. And the next one is the Pomodoro technique. So the problem with a lot of us is that we will talk ourselves out of things. So if we wait more than a certain amount of time, like if we give ourselves like if we think about something and then we wait more than a couple seconds, even 30 seconds, we'll immediately talk ourselves out of it. Like for instance, let's think about going outside. We'll think about how we have to put our shoes on, and then we have to go past the neighbors, and then we have to, you know, do start our car, you know, you're thinking about all these things, and then eventually you just talk yourself out of it because you already went through the whole process in your head. You're exhausted, you feel like you did it. But in reality, when you actually go and do it, it's not as bad as we had imagined in our head. It's not as irritating or exhausting or annoying as we had imagined. So we want to do within a few seconds. The minute you get an idea, do it. I do that with the dishes or the laundry. I'm like, I can get that thought off, I'll do it later, but like, no, you do it now. Right now, we're doing it. You walk past it, let's go, let's do it. So there's that, and then there is setting a timer, which is the Pomodoro technique, which is that you set a timer for 25 minutes and you go, listen, it's just 25 minutes, I can do it. You trick your brain into doing it, be like, it will be fine. It's just 25 minutes. 25 minutes is nothing, I can do this. Then at the end, you either will want to continue to do it because you're on a roll, or you'll be like, okay, I did what I need to do, I feel accomplished, and at least you've got 25 minutes of doing that thing. And you can also do things where you take breaks in between and then you do it again, you do another 25 minutes. Or maybe you need to shorten it where you do 5 minutes and taking a break. Some people need to do that when they're doing like homework and stuff like that. So try to do different things where it's basically you just want to trick your brain. Think about your brain as like a little kid. You got to kind of trick them and get them excited to do things. The biggest thing you want to focus on is raising your baseline of that dopamine release and doing it intrinsically rather than extrinsically. So what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys. My little dress is giving me such early 2000 vibes. I feel like I'm at camp all over again. What's wrong? Come here. What happened? Tell me. Who we fighting? Who we want to fight? You know, I need someone to hold my earrings and put my hair up. Who we fighting? Who we fighting? All right, let me just do this video, okay? And then I'll be right with you. Okay? Love you. Why don't you go take a drink of water? Because dopamine, the reward hormone, why am I having such a hard time with hormone?